Good afternoon and welcome to Football Focus for our first pod. Joined by Ian and Dave, but before we go any further, I'm just going to share our intro with you. So give me 1 second, guys.
Liverpool FC is hard as hell. United, Tottenham, Arsenal. Watch my lips and I will spell. Cause they don't just play, but they can rap as well. Liverpool FC.
My idea was to build Liverpool into a bastion of invincibility, you know, like... Napoleon had that idea, he would conquer the bloody world.
Yes, people, thanks for joining us on Sunday afternoon, just ahead of the West Brom Liverpool game. Big game for the Reds, having taken 3 points away from Old Trafford on midweek, 4 goals away from home at Old Trafford. Great result. I'm sure all of you would agree, we do, because we've spoken about it already, that without a win today, the Old Trafford game has little relevance. So every one of these games needs to be won. So we'll start with the team. Alisson, Trent, Phillips, Williams, Robertson, no surprises there. Fabinho, Ronaldo, Thiago in midfield. And up front, Salah, Firmino and Mane. Changing the front three from midweek in that Jota's picked up a foot injury and won't play again for the rest of the season. So that's not great news for the Reds. But we've still got plenty of quality. I think controversially, now's the time for Sadio to prove that Klopp was wrong to drop him. So instead of shrugging his shoulders and being a big baby, let's get on the pitch and score some goals. Show us what you can do. Good afternoon, Dave. Thoughts on the team, please, mate?
Not sure what else he could have done, really, mate. Kind of picks itself, yeah. You say? I mean, it's probably as strong as he can go. Yeah, real shame about Jota, but wholeheartedly agree with you, mate, that the Sadio Mane needs to step up to the plate, because in the week Bobby did. So let's hope that Sadio Mane can today.
I'm being corrected here, boys, and I don't mind saying I'm wrong. Steve says, I did have a glance at the team, Jones is in instead of Ronaldo. If that's the case, Twitter will be pleased, because obviously Gini's been a little bit off colour in the last couple of days, last couple of games. There are certain fans, including ones that I respect, that think Gini should have played his last game for the club now, need to look forward rather than backwards with 3 games left to go in the season. So, Ian, thoughts on that? You still have the opinion that Gini shouldn't play?
I said on the last pod, didn't I, that we did about LFC, that I think it's time. I love Gini. I've been one of his biggest fans. I think the work he does goes unnoticed. But I think if he's decided to go now, that might be time to drop him. Then we got the chance to get into the top 4 again. And I was like, whoa, hold on a minute. We're not just planning for next season yet. Because that's what a week ago, that's what I thought we were doing. I would imagine it's down to how many games we're playing. That when I was been left out of today, I'd rather be left out of West Brom games than the Man United one and potentially the Burnley one. Because I think Burnley, for me, I don't want this comment to come back and haunt me, but I think Burnley potentially hold a larger threat than West Brom, so Gene will probably be back in against Burnley. I'm a fan of Jones. Hopefully a rest has done him good. He looked tired the last 2 games he was playing before he went and whatever happened with the England under-21s. He's good enough to come in. It's not like we're bringing in someone who's never kicked the ball for us before. He's played enough games. He's experienced enough. He's passionate enough. So yeah, I'm not overly disappointed to not see Ronaldo in. I would personally, I would have picked him today, but let's just get the win. Just second cup final in 3 days. Let's just go and get the win.
Totally agree. I think bringing Jones in makes it an interesting team selection in regards that he's not really a defensive midfielder. He's a guy who likes to pick up the ball and move with it and shut down the distance between our current deep midfield and our front line. So it'd be nice to know that there's somebody in the channel between the two. Dave, does that make you think that Thiago's going to play a little bit of a deeper role today, or are we going to just play one, let the two in front do a little bit more?
Yeah, I think he will. I think if Fabinho and Thiago play, they'll probably sit a little bit deeper together, I think. And you might see Fabinho do the operate from midfield as well because of that extra protection maybe that Thiago's going to give us, in theory, by sitting a little bit deeper. We have seen that a couple of times when Thiago's played. Fabinho's broken on occasions. It doesn't happen very often, but on occasions he breaks forward, and he's got more drive from midfield than Thiago has, certainly.
Absolutely agree. And Ian, we've spoke about this before. Fabinho's very adept with the old sandwich, with the ball over the top, like Mane against Manchester United. He's a good exponent with the football. So would you like to see what Dave's just spoken about?
About Fabinho's creativity, did you say?
Stepping forward a little bit, using his creative ability.
I've said it 100 times. Fabinho is so underrated for how creative he is. I just think Fabinho can do everything. I think if you asked him to play a more attacking role, he could if he needed to. I've said it 100 times. He's Van Dijk in midfield for us. I still don't think some people have got how good he is. He's an absolutely fantastic player. I do think that them games where we played them in at centre half, as decent and as good as he was at centre half, I think if we'd have played him in midfield, we maybe not be in the position we are now. We'd maybe have top four strong up. I think we would have won more games. I think looking back, I think Klopp might agree to that as well. He's just such a good footballer, Steve. He's such an intelligent footballer. He's got such an understanding of the game. He reads the game. He reads the game so well. He never looks like he breaks sweat to me. He just seems to stroll around the pitch, and that's the sign of a quality player. So yeah, I love Fabinho. I think he's important as Alisson and Van Dijk to me. And when he's not in midfield, I do think we miss him a lot.
I can't disagree with that, mate. I think he's a superb footballer. I think you're right. His appreciation of the game is probably the strongest asset for me. Just a Rolls Royce, and we have a few of those, don't we? Van Dijk's another one. So we've got two of those guys that seem to stroll through the games. Just coming to you, Paoli, just looking at obviously the opposition today and in the corresponding fixture, West Brom scored from set piece, and I think we all guessed that they would. But Nat Phillips wasn't playing, was he? So Nat Phillips and Rhys Williams like aerial challenges. They're both big lads and both up for it. So hopefully, I don't know if you agree, hopefully that would be a good way to combat what Sam Allardyce has done throughout his career. Do you think that's a possibility today?
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of they've had to play, haven't they? Those two guys, they've got to play. No other option really, unless Fabinho did drop back in there again, which we all agree on, as Ian just said. That shouldn't happen. Yeah, I think I've been dead impressed with Phillips. Like he's done so well. He literally he must have exceeded everybody's expectations, probably his own. And I think Rhys Williams has done pretty well as well. You know, he had a couple of shaky games, but United game in the cup, he didn't have a great game, but. You know, he's been thrown in. Neither of those guys, I know everyone keeps saying it, but neither of those guys at the start of the season would probably have even thought they'd play a minute for the first team this year. So I would imagine every time they step onto the pitch, every time they step on the training grounds, they probably pinch themselves. So, yeah, nothing really but admiration for the way both of those have handled it. It's not their fault. It's nobody's fault that other people get injured and they've been thrust into the limelight. I'm looking at West Brom's team. I think looks like they've gone quite attacking. And Dean Garner's playing, Phillips is playing, Pereira's playing, Robson Kanu's playing. So the thing I'm looking at is saying they're going to play 4-4-1-1, but I'm struggling to see how they're going to do that with those players that they've got playing.
But do you know what? That plays into our hands, doesn't it? I think just coming back to the win, obviously with a great result midweek, lots of things we've wanted to see from the Reds in the last few weeks we've started to see in terms of resilience, character, spirit, going a goal down early, getting pegged back from 3-1 to 3-2. I think we'd all agree that in the last 3 months, both of those things would have been, well, they've been catastrophic at times, and we probably wouldn't have recovered and got through those games. So, what are you expecting from Liverpool today? Are you expecting the Manchester United game to give us a Liverpool performance that's full of confidence and vigour and intensity? Are you looking for us to build on the midweek results?
Well, you know what, Steve? Nat Phillips said something very interesting after the United game, and they asked him about how almost scrappy the game was and how much of a battle and performance it was. And Nat Phillips said we had to make it that way to win the game today. And it's almost as if we need to be the ones who make a game scrappy now. And it was. That was a proper battle on Thursday night. And I think before Sam Allardyce came in, West Brom were a better team and a hardened team, I thought. I don't think they've improved since Allardyce has come in at all. And I think they were much better under Birch. So the only thing that worries me is Sam Allardyce seems to have a personal vendetta against Liverpool, and he has since the Benitez days. So the comments he made yesterday or the day before, I would just pin them on the dressing room wall today, just before kick-off. I say, I don't need to say anything, and just send the boys out. As in our plan I just think it'll be our plan today will be to try and soak up whatever pressure I think they have and go on the counter. I think we'll play on the counter today. Especially with Mane coming in for Jota. I can't see us going right at West Brom. I think we'll try and play on the counter today, which might be a bit controversial for some people.
Would be for me, to be honest with you. I think what comes from the game on midweek is that we got some intensity back. And before I carry on, I just want to give a shout out to Ryan. I spent a bit of time on the pod with this guy. He's absolutely first class, mate. He's a great lad. So cheers for jumping on, Ryan. Appreciate the comments, pal. For me today, boys, I want to see Liverpool on the front foot. I want to see Liverpool in the faces of West Brom. You don't give free kicks away that can turn against you in set pieces if you play in the opposition's half, and we've got the team to do that today. I hope Sadio proves his point today, I really do. I don't think footballers become bad footballers overnight. He's just in wretched form. We've said it 100 times between us. He's trying too hard at the moment. It makes him force things. So a little bit of relaxing and a little bit of a point to prove today could be to our benefit. Dave, where do you see us winning the game today, pal?
Salah. Get the ball to Salah as often as possible. All of their back four are pretty inexperienced, are they? Certainly in terms of Premier League football. And I just think that Salah's hot. He's been hot all season. He's been hot for 4 years. Getting the ball to him as often as possible. I think it is it's as straightforward as that. And Trent's come back and hit back since he got left out of that England squad. He's hit back really. His form's been excellent. And I think that if you get the ball to Salah as often as possible, then Trent can advance further down that side more often. And I just think that's I think that's dangerous for any opposition. Doesn't matter who you are, whether you're West Brom or Manchester City.
I think Trent was superb midweek, wasn't he? The feature for me with Trent at midweek, and I'll come to you, Ian, on it in a moment, is when we were brilliant with the fullbacks, Trent was putting the ball into spaces in front of the front players instead of at the front players driving at people's legs. He's gone very relaxed with his delivery. His body shape's very relaxed. The body shape he makes says to me he's comfortable with the football again. He's a key part today, isn't he, Ian? And how big a part can he play in today's game?
If he plays as big as part as he did on Thursday night, he'll run the game. He absolutely won that game from right back on Thursday night. He was absolutely fantastic. I think the best thing Gareth Southgate could ever do for us was drop him from that England squad. Because he's come since he's been dropped, mate. He's come back like a man possessed. He's come out with everything to prove. I think since that happened, he's been absolutely phenomenal. He's been the trend from last season for me. He wants this top four as much as us, as much as the fans. He's desperate to get top four. He took that game by the scruff of the neck on Thursday night. The way Steven Gerrard used to grab a game from the scruff of the neck in central midfield, that's what Trent did from right back on Thursday night. That was one of the best performances I've seen a player in our team put in all season. That will go down. That is how good he was. That right side today is going to be so important for us, Salah and Trent. If them two are on fire, we won't be stopped today. We will be far too much for West Brom. So let's hope both of them bang up for it today.
There's a question for you, Dave. Have a look at that. What are your thoughts on Firmino being captain today?
Who else would you give it to?
Trent?
Salah?
Possibly. I didn't know that. That's the first I knew about that he was captain.
No, I didn't know it either. Whether it's true or it's just a suggestion, we'll have to do some research to find out. Food for thought.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, listen, we've spoken loads of times about Bobby's form over the last probably 12 months, not being quite at the level it was at before, but that's because he was so good before that any drop off is going to be so noticeable. Listen, if you're going to make him captain, stranger things have happened than off the back of a performance like that in midweek where you get a couple of goals and your team win 4-2. Stranger things have happened than Jurgen Klopp making him captain today. So, yeah, I mean, I'm of the opinion, it's a bit of a cliche, Steve, but I'm of the opinion that every player that steps on your pitch should be a captain for you, really. Some captains are a little bit more obvious than others. You know, Jordan Henderson, obviously. Steven Gerrard when he was about. But, you know, everyone should be taking the responsibility of leading by example and showing the way for the rest of their teammates and helping their teammates out. And that's what a captain does, in my opinion.
Just coming to you, Ian, I think that's quite clever on Klopp's part, because if Bobby needed a shot in the arm following a good performance, being given a captain's armband, we talk about this, don't we? When we gave Gerrard the captain's armband, Gerrard's performances went through the roof, didn't they? Because he raised his game and he stepped up to meet the responsibility. Do you think Bobby's got that in his personality today to be wearing that armband with pride and give us a bit more? Do you think that's going to be an effect today?
You know what, Steve? I love Bobby. I love everything about him. I think he's a fantastic player. He's an intelligent player. One thing I've never seen in him, I don't think, is captain characteristics. I've never seen it before. But you know what? Jurgen Klopp spends a lot more time with Bobby Firmino than what I do. He's in training with him every day. He sees him every single day. So who am I to say whether Bobby Firmino shouldn't be captain or not? He seems to be a very well loved character at the club. Every time he scores, he's surrounded by every single player. I think every player at Liverpool has felt Bobby's form and felt that he's not feeling right, because I think Bobby knows he's not been playing his best. So maybe you're all right. Maybe it's a good shot in the arm. You know what, mate? You played wonders on Thursday night. There's the captain's armband. Keep it up. I don't think Klopp. I might upset a few people here, but I don't think the captaincy is important to Klopp as it is to us. I don't know whether that's a German thing. I don't know what it is. It seems to be that way for the German national team as well I've noticed over the years. So I wouldn't be taking too much stock in who's got the captain's armband on. As much as a player who put it on to be proud, I don't think it's one of Klopp's priorities.
Fair enough, Dave. After Thursday night, I'll go back to it because quite a lot was made in the media about it. And you and I both been involved in football, and what Sadio Mane did was really nothing to speak of. And it's been blown out of proportion a little bit. So it's become quite a high profile. You will have seen the response to being frustrated at the end of the game. What do you want to see from him today? You're his manager. What do you need to see from Sadio Mane today?
A performance. Because it has been blown out of proportion. Because we're in that. It's been said loads of times before. We're in that era of 24-hour news, 24-hour sports news on multiple channels. So they've got to fill that up, and that was probably a little bit of news the other day, wasn't it? It's not just the fact that we turned United over. It's they're always looking for some other angle. The manager did really well at the time. He said it was nothing, behind closed doors. I'll be very surprised if the manager hasn't had a word with him about that, because it just shows a little bit of a lack of respect, and you don't want that. You don't want that in your squad or your team. So and in your environment, doesn't matter who that is. Doesn't matter whether it's one of the players, one of your leading players, or that's someone who serves up their pre-match meal. You don't want that. So so he will have had a word with him about it. I thought it was really interesting that on his social media, he's as from yesterday, Sadio Mane's appeared to be bang up for this game. 3 points are needed, etc., etc., etc. So he's saying all the right things, saying and doing two different things. So he's talked about it. Now go and do it.
Personally speaking, looking at that situation, it's come out that Klopp made a decision very late in the day to not play Mane and replace him with Jota, and I think the first Mane found out was when the team was announced. Just coming to you, Ian, you've got a load of players who are used to winning. You've got a load of players who are used to scoring goals and playing key parts in your performances. And in Sadio Mane, absolutely one of those types of guys. That's what you want from your manager. As a manager, that's what you want from your player, to be frustrated, to show passion that he wasn't playing. Maybe, like Dave says, the lack of respect was a little thing, and I'm sure, as Dave also says, they've had a conversation about it. But from your perspective, isn't that what you wanted to see from your players when they don't get what they want in terms of playing games? Is that not what you're looking for?
First of all, Stick, can I just say, it's been blown out of proportion because it's Jurgen Klopp. Because Jurgen Klopp's the type of man who goes on and hugs everyone. I'm not saying there wouldn't be some talk about it if it wasn't Ole Gunnar Solskjaer or it wasn't Ancelotti. But Klopp goes down and he hugs every single person, and whether you play for the opposition or you play for Liverpool, that's what he does. So there wouldn't be as much focus on it if it wasn't Jurgen Klopp. I'm sure Jurgen Klopp will absolutely love it on the inside. He's showing a bit of fire in his belly. He's going to be up for the next game. I'm not 100% certain that if Jota was fit today, he would have played today. I think Mane would have played today. I think Mane would have started today no matter what. Mane is a fiery character. We know he is. He does it on the pitch. He's one of them players that when he gets fouled, and I always cringe a little bit because I think he's going to get up and give this fella the kick now, or he's going to give him a clip around the ear. Because that's what Mane does. He's always done it. I don't know how he doesn't get sent off a bit more at times because he's quite aggressive. People don't really talk about him that way, but he can be quite an aggressive, niggly player, Mane. So he's one of them players, like he plays on the edge. He plays on the edge of exploding. He doesn't cross the line like Suarez used to, but he can be. I think it was a lack of respect. I don't think he should have done it. But it's not the first time he's done it. And it's not the first time Klopp's had to deal with it. He's had to deal with it with Salah. He's had to deal with it with Henderson. No doubt he'll have to deal with it with somebody else. And I hope, and I think we'll get a performance out of Mane today. So hopefully come 6 o'clock tonight, it'll all be forgotten about because Mane will have banged in 2 goals.
Let's hope so. So before I talk a little bit about the channel, because obviously those of you that come on frequently have noticed the colour scheme's changed, the logo's changed. I'm going to run a little video in a minute and just speak a bit about what our plans are as a team. I'm just going to go around for you two guys and find out how you're feeling about today. Are you confident? Has a bit of trepidation? How are you feeling? Ian, how are you feeling about today?
quietly confident. There's always been a trepidation for me when we play Sam Allardyce, because of who he is and how his teams play against us. He does know how to get points off us. I don't think his record against us is as good as what people think, though. We do beat him quite a bit as well. I don't expect us to run ragged on them. I think it'll be another scrappy game. I think we'll beat them by the odd goal, whether it be 1-0, 2-1, 3-2. I don't know. But I expect us to get the 3 points today, Steve.
And Dave, your thoughts on the same thing, mate, please?
Well, I was quite confident. Ian and I are having a few problems saying our words today, aren't we? I was quite confident anyway. And then I looked at their team. And because it looks quite attacking, obviously they're down now, so I would imagine that Sam Allardyce will still be putting demands on those players because he's that type of guy. But I just look at that team; it doesn't look to me like the kind of team that I would expect it to put out against us. So I'm hoping they're all over the place, Steve, if I'm honest. And we do actually run them ragged. I'm having seen their team, I'm more bullish than I was confident earlier. So I fancy us to win quite comfortably today, actually.
So just to close on that subject, I would have been more worried if they'd come set up defensively with 6'5" players to do what they did in the draw at home, which is load the box for set pieces. And it proved to be our Achilles heel, and we all prophesied it would happen, and it did. As I said before, that Phillips is in the lineup today. So all the balls you want in the box, that guy would eat them alive. He's ridiculous in that regard. So just outside of the game today, as I said before, channel's changed its name now to Football Focus. Just going to run a little video for you guys, and then I'll just close on that in a minute. So 1 second. So this is us. This is the new brand. We're going to cover all of the Premier League football clubs. We're going to cover transfer windows. We're going to do international tournaments. Stand by for some news on person who's going to head up our England coverage, our Euro 2000 coverage. That will be good. There'll be lots of viewers, lots of traction on the channel for that reason. So if you're listening into this, you're looking at this, you come across this on Twitter or YouTube, and you fancy being a podcaster, come and get in touch, because we need to cover all the other teams. We're going to take this channel and grow it. The only way we'll be able to do that is by getting support from other clubs. So Arsenal, Tottenham, Leicester, Man United, Man City fans, come and take a slot on our channel. You'll be very welcome. We'll support you in every way we can. We have the platform. It will cost you nothing. Just want your expertise and your enthusiasm. So that be all we've got time for now, guys. So thanks, Ian, and thanks, Dave, for coming on. For those of you that tuned in, thanks for tuning in. Go and enjoy a Reds victory. That's how confident I am, because I think we'll get one. We'll see you at 6:25 for the post-match review, where we're joined by the team from Yanks on the Cop. So that'll be interesting. There'll be 5 or 6 of us in it. It promises to be very lively. If the post-match Man United one was anything to go by, it'll be a good watch. So we'll see you later on. Go and enjoy the Reds game. Thanks everyone for tuning in.
Cheers, boys.